is blessing for the longest night. All throughout these months, as the shadows have lengthened, this blessing has been gathering itself, making ready, preparing for this night. It has practiced walking in the dark, traveling with its eyes closed, feeling its way by memory, by touch, by the pull of the moon, even as it wanes. So believe me when I tell you this blessing will reach you, even if you have not had light enough to read it. It will find you, even though you cannot see it coming. You will know the moment of its arriving by your release of your breath you have held for so long. A loosening of the clenching in your hands, of the clutch around your heart, a thinning of the darkness that has drawn itself around you. This blessing does not mean to take the night away, but it knows its hidden roads. It knows its resting spots along the path. It knows what it means to travel in the company of a friend. So when this blessing comes, take its hand, get up, set out on that road that you cannot see. This is the night when you can trust that any direction you go, you'll be walking towards the dawn. We now welcome Rev Pam McMillian, who's going to speak to us on a blue Christmas.
There is one debate that reigns every holiday season. It has impacted my life and has likely impacted yours. And that is this: when is the appropriate time to put up the Christmas tree? Right? For some, it is believed that you cannot do it before Thanksgiving. Others, like myself, think you can put it up on November 1st. But years ago, I heard a very interesting take on this debate. It was from many years ago. I heard on a radio show, on a podcast, a story of a Catholic couple in Huntsville, Alabama. Jason and Brandy disagreed deeply on when to put up their tree. Brandy wanted to put up her Christmas tree on December 1st. And Jason, the devout Catholic that he was, wanted to wait until Christmas Eve so that they could properly observe Advent. See, Jason argued that liturgically it was important to not only wait till Christmas to celebrate, but to lean into the reality of the more sobering parts of Advent, the brokenness of this world, confronting sinfulness in this world, maybe the more apocalyptic aspects of the Advent season. So here's the interesting part of the story. They went on a radio show for someone to settle this debate for them. It was a show called Judge John Hodgman. It's a great show. And they waited for John Hodgman to give the ruling. John Hodgman ruled in Brandy's favor, saying that the Christmas tree could be put up on December 1st. But he also court-ordered something special for Jason. He made Jason take a tree, cut it down, put it in his shed, and refuse to water it so that he could sit and watch it die all Advent season. And this was to be called a Sadvent tree. I find that story so amusing in many ways because it's so silly and absurd, and yet it also seems very fitting, especially as we reflect on what Advent means. There are many sad aspects of the Advent season and of the Christmas season in general. The truth is we cannot have hope, peace, and joy without the recognition of suffering, sadness, and grief. Now today, as we note, we are celebrating something called Blue Christmas. And when you hear that term, you might actually, what comes to mind is likely the 1948 holiday classic from Elvis Presley about heartache and unrequited love around the holidays. But Blue Christmas has in recent years become a name for a new type of service around the holidays, one that marks the grief and pain that surfaces this time of year for many. It is a time to gather and make space to acknowledge the darkness that often descends in the world's amidst the world's joy. In this way, we actually continue ancient traditions of gathering in such times, knowing that one candle could easily be extinguished, but many kindled together ignite hope's steady flame. Thursday, December 21st, is the winter solstice, the shortest amount of daylight and the longest amount of night due to the axis of the Earth's rotation and other science that I will never fully understand. For millennia, people all over the world have recognized this astronomical occurrence and marked the occasion with festivals and celebrations. Humans have been observing the winter solstice for as long ago as the Neolithic period, the last part of the Stone Age, beginning at about 10,200 BCE. Ancient Rome marked this time of year with a hedonistic celebration called Saturnalia, a holiday to honor the god of agriculture, Saturn. The ancient Norsemen of Scandinavia celebrated the season of Yule by bringing in large logs into their home called Yule logs and celebrating for as long as the log would burn. The Chinese celebration of the winter solstice, Dongzhi, which means winter arrives, welcomes the return of longer days and the corresponding increase of positive energy in the year to come. In all of these celebrations, which are just to name a few, there is one common thread. It is a collection of people brought together to make it through the darkest night with the hope that a new day will come. For many, this season of joy, Rudolph, carolers, and extravagant lights is actually a difficult season, a season of darkness. Or perhaps, if we are honest, we all carry a little bit of darkness into this season. I think of all who struggle this holiday, those missing ones of who have passed and yet still dwell in the memory's inner chambers, those exhausted by raging injustice all over our world, as has already been mentioned today, those facing private grief or fear invisible to most. I know that for me, Christmas is hard because I unexpectedly lost my best friend 3 days after Christmas about 6 years ago. In this time, we make space for the reality that amidst all of this pressure to be happy and joyful, we need our emotions to seek sanctuary. I don't know what is on your heart today, but I know that we all carry with us the shadow of darkness, whether it be grief, fear, doubt, shame, or loneliness. But here, today, we carve out a special time where we can breathe and break from mandated cheerfulness. For in offering loving presence and respect to our own inner darkness, we kindle resilience. The gathering of community brings revelation that we are not alone in our struggles, and that brings us consolation. In lifting the silence and secrets of shame that surround our difficult, hard emotions, we forge solidarity and shield against despair. And there is profound power when we lock arms in solidarity through life's challenges. It is not about the light that is at the end of the tunnel, but the headlights of others on the same road that we are on, the lights that remind us that we go on this journey together. This is also an occasion where we light candles to remind us of the lights that above us, that lights left by travelers before us to light the way. I love that stars are such an important part of this season. We put stars on top of the tree, we put stars on our sweaters, we even make cookies in the shape of stars. The thing I love most about stars is that we cannot see them until it's at its darkest. It's not that they are ever gone, they are always in the sky. But we cannot see them until the sun sets, until the light pollution dims. And that's when they shine. They remind us that the darkness will not overcome us. The stars guide us. They show us a way to true north and how to find home when we are lost. I invite you today and in the coming weeks to find space to create sanctuary, to befriend your darkness, and to look for the stars to guide you through ritual or practice. Light an evening candle, walk a meditative labyrinth, or keep a journal where feelings flow uncensored, which is what I do. It's very graphic, some of the things I write in my journal. Compose a letter to a lost loved one or your hurting inner self. Instead of writing a letter to Santa, write a letter to yourself and to your pain. For when we befriend our own darkness, the inner light grows. There is another reason why so many people gather for the longest night of the year. Not only to huddle together to make it through the night, but to stand fearlessly, knowing that after the darkness, there is always the promise of light. The ancients knew this during the winter solstice, that point where the year's longest night gives way to light's rebirth. As Jan Richardson says in that beautiful, beautiful poem, then that blessing, any way you walk, you will be headed towards the dawn. The ancients gathered through the darkness in trust that the sun would slowly return each day. We too gather through our longest nights, igniting the community's flame, tending hope's embers till joy's dawn emerges in time. As stars shine unseen till the blackest sky reveals their glow, so may we uncover meaning in the seasons of sorrow. For after the longest night, light always comes. It is a way of saying we are here. We made it through the worst of it, and we are still going to make it together. The light will return. We may not see it yet, but it is coming. This season, I'm always reminded of a song, not Blue Christmas by Elvis Presley, but another classic that I really love and hold on to, especially in my lowest moments. And that is Dolly Parton's Light of a Clear Blue Morning. I listened to a podcast. I'm a big podcast person, if you couldn't tell. There was a great podcast called Dolly Parton's America, done a couple years ago, about her life and her influence on our American culture. And they talked about her time on the Porter Wagoner show. And many people actually know that the song I Will Always Love You was written about Porter Wagoner and her leaving the show and the grief that she felt from having to walk away from it. But the same day that she penned that song, she also wrote another song, one that sounded a lot like a breakup, but truly mirrors this exact reality that we're talking about. It so perfectly captures this moment and how we can make it through the darkness. The lyrics go like this: "It's been a long, dark night, and I've been waiting for the morning. It's been a long, hard fight, but I see a brand new day a-dawning. I've been looking for the sunshine. You know I ain't seen it for so long, but everything's gonna work out just fine. Everything's gonna be all right that's been all wrong. 'Cause I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. Oh, and everything's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. It may still be a ways off before we see the dawn and the light of a clear blue morning. I don't know where you are. I don't know how dark it is for you, but I know that you do not go through it alone. We go through it together. We stand in solidarity, arm in arm, to face the darkness and to have hope that the light will come. It may be a way off, but the light of a clear blue morning is coming, and it will be eager to greet you. Allow me to please say this closing blessing. Source of light and understanding, we gather to confront our pain in the midst of the world's celebration. Help us to know that you are present with us in all of our moods and feelings and seasons. Grant us a taste of the hope, peace, and joy and love that we so long for. May it be so. Amen. As I said, Blue Christmas is oftentimes an opportunity for us to light lights, to light candles in the face of the darkness. And so Beth has graciously put together for us a little altar of lights, of tea lights. I'd invite you, as you feel comfortable, to come forward and to light a candle. Maybe it's to light a candle for your own grief and sadness. Maybe it's to light a candle for the resilience that you have faced so much and made it through. Maybe it's to light a candle for someone else going through a dark season. Either way, we come forward and we light them together. We stand as one. I will light a candle, and I invite you, as you feel comfortable and are able, to come forward as well.